Good afternoon, everybody. Bill Thornton here, SoCalsabre, and it's afternoon on January 7th. And today I'm going to be talking to you about my top favorite board games of 2020. Now, I played about 55 different types of games in 2020. And of them, I believe like 24 of them were sports games, and 14 or so were war games. And then the others are what I call just normal board games. And that's what I'm going to be doing this on, is the normal board games today. And they may not be the best board games, but they're the ones that were my favorites in 2020. I'm still relatively new to this video thing, and I have a hard time when it comes to making the list of the top ones and so forth, but I hope to get better as things go on. If you like, help me out here, go down there and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet, and push it out in your social media channels. So we're going to go, here we go, with counting down my top 5, but before we get to the top 5, let's, what will the list be without a few honorable mentions? It's one honorable role player. This is a dice management game. It has some luck and the cards in it and some strategy. A really good game. It does play solo. It has a solo variant in it. And this year I did only get to play it solo. COVID had interfered with a lot of the plans I had for getting with other people and so forth. But role player, good game. And next on honorable mention, Great Western Trails. I wanted to play this real bad. I got it on the table and I played it by myself, two-handed, to learn it. And it was on my list to be played at the gaming marathon for Extra Life this year, but didn't make it onto the table during the marathon. We had a lot less people here than what we had in the past. So still want to play it with other people. Maybe someday, if COVID ever gets nice to us and we can have people over to the house, we can do that. But it looks really, really good. It's been highly rated on Board Game Geek for a long time now, and I'd like to give it a try with some other people. My last honorable mention is Space Corps 2025 2300 AD. It's a pretty cool game. I did get to play this solo, and I did play it with another person prior to our lockdown. And it's, card drafting and using cards and building corporations up there and so forth. Really unique game. And they now have come out with some expansions for it, which I don't have, but I really enjoyed it. All right, here we go. My top 5. Number 5, 51st State. This is the Master Set Edition. This is a cool game. I've played it solo, and I did get to play it with other people during our gaming marathon for Extra Life this year, and I like to play it both ways. It's, like deck management and property acquirement and strategy and so forth. A lot of neat stuff going on in this game. And I had a lot of fun playing it solo, and we had a lot of fun when we played it with I think we did play it 4-player during the marathon. So, good game. Number 5, 51st State. Number 4, Wingspan. There's been a lot of hype and everything about Wingspan over the last couple of years, and I never really paid too much attention to it, but I did play it once a couple of years ago, right after it first came out, and I said, well, this is one that my family would enjoy. But I played with some other people, so I really didn't learn nothing, so I went out and bought it. And then this year, because as with most of the Stonemaier games, they have a solo in it. I did play the game to learn it, and then we got it on the table during the Extra Life Marathon, 5-handed, for 2 different games, and everybody, including myself, really enjoyed it. Nice family game. It's not that hard to learn or teach, and there's a lot of variety in it and a lot of replayability because you're depending on the different cards and the different dice and your decisions and so forth, and what kind of birds you get and what kind of nests they have, what kind of food they need. Pretty cool stuff, but not hard to teach. So if you're looking for a good one for the family, check out Wingspan. Okay, number 3, Firefly the game. In the picture, you only see that's the base game. Since I do also have the two big expansions that add boards to both sides, it's really a big game. I really like Firefly. It has solo variant written into it. I have played it solo, and I was able to, before we locked down, play this with 2 other players, and everybody enjoyed it. It's, a pickup delivery system, but there still is a lot of planning that you got to do and a lot of strategy and intrigue. And I can't wait till I can I'm going to get it out solo again this year, but I'm going to get, if I don't get, before I get anybody else in, then I'm going to get it with the expansions put out there. So that should add a lot to it. So that was, and some of the expansions were hard to get, but Firefly just got some of them, like the one called Calidasa was out of print for a long time, but it's back in print now. So check Gale Force 9's. Great game, Firefly the game. Number 2, Tainted Grail. Wow, this is a big one to set up. This is strategy and cards and so forth. And I don't know how to explain all of the mechanics and everything in it, but I have played this solo, and I did play it with. Have played 4 players before we locked down. Lots of fun. If you're familiar with a game called Seventh Continent, the way the cards are laid out and the direction that this has similar mechanics in it, in a big storybook. Refers you to the story based on the decisions that you make, and it's a campaign. And I am nowhere near really get started in that. In fact, when I break it back out into the table, hopefully by the end of this month, I'm going to be starting all over again, because I did make notes, but I forgot most of the stuff that we did in that. So there is number 2, Tainted Grail. And number 1 for me last year is Gaia Project. This is probably the heaviest game that I got into this year. I did play it 2-handed by myself to learn the game, and then we were able to get it on the board during the Extra Life Marathon. It's a 4-player game. There's a lot to it. I think there's more things going on. The reason it's so highly, I think it's like 4.31 the learning scale on Board Game Geek out of 5. And I think that the reason that it's so high is because it's not that there's nothing that's real difficult going on. It's just there is a lot of things going on the board. You got to be watching what the other people are doing. You got to have your plans of what you want to do with your colony and your people and building it up. And this has been on the top 10 in Board Game Geek for a long time. I've had it for a long time, about since last February I had it. And really good game. Looking forward to it. And I am going to get it back on the board this year if I don't get anybody else to play, because it has a solo automa built into it, and I want to play it with that solo automa once. So that was my favorite games from 2020. A lot of different games that I played, and I liked a lot of them, and a lot of them could have been an honorable mention, and some of the honorable mentions could have very well made it into the top 5, but just trying to decide which one is what you like the most, it's really difficult. But there was no decision when it came to Gaia Project. It was my top. So, until you see me again out there, folks, be kind to each other, take care of yourself, and in today's days of COVID, stay safe. Please go down and hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. Thank you.